Hi, this is Alexander Sebastian again, talking to you on the channel Parents as Partners. And today I have something rather disturbing to tell you about. My son, Peter, has started speaking in tongues. I didn't know where he got it from, but all of a sudden, here in the house, when something would go wrong, he would start speaking and saying words, isolated words that I had no idea where they came from or what they meant or anything else. So I asked him about this. I said, well, what does that mean? And he says, that's Russian. I said, well, where did you learn Russian? And of course the answer was in the gaming rooms. Here in Korea, gaming on the computer in gaming rooms outside the home is really a big thing. So 2, 3, 4 times a week, he'll jump on his bicycle, go for the 5-minute ride down to his favorite gaming room. He'll walk in there and he'll play with his friends. And these are people he has never met before. So I was curious, what takes place in these rooms? What kind of games are they? What's going on in there? And how can you learn Russian in there? And he said, come along, I'll show you. So I did. So off we went this week down to his gaming room. We both got on our bicycles, and it's really about 5 minutes down there. Parked him outside, went into the dark corridor actually, and we went to the elevator and went upstairs to the 4th floor. And this was kind of a seedy, when we came out of the elevator, it was a little bit dirty, and there were cigarette butts on the floor, even though smoking in buildings is prohibited here in Korea. Finn hustled out of the door and down the corridor into through some doors into a counter, and they recognized Finn, and he gave them his number and paid some money. Wasn't much at all, and he took us down to booth 146 and 147. Had super comfortable office chairs on there, and very high-tech computer equipment, or at least it looked like it to me. I don't know that much about it. And he reached over on my computer, set everything up, and gave me the earphones, and did the same for himself, and waited a few minutes while this program downloaded or uploaded, and all of a sudden on the screen was this terrorist scene. It looked like something out of Iraq or Syria. And he said, these are the controls. He spent very little time with me actually, because he was anxious to get on his own game. And all of a sudden I could move my my avatar across the screen, and all of a sudden the screen was full of blood again. And I looked up, and he pointed up there and knocked on the screen. I was already dead one time. It rebooted. 30 seconds later, I'm running across the screen again. I don't see anybody. All of a sudden, blood across the screen again. Finn hits my screen, dead twice. And this went on and on. I hardly saw anybody. I didn't get any kills. And I think I was shot 36 times in the evening. Much to the delight of my son. He thought that was really fun. Finally, I just gave up on it and turned the computer off and watched him play. And there he was, very much involved in his game. Same game I was playing, Counter-Strike. And he's yelling into his mouthpiece, you know, and sometimes in Russian, sometimes in a type of accented English that he told me later was for his Chinese friends, because his friends are not the friends that I've known from the international school or from his cousins back home, because we're 12 hours difference in the time schedule, time zones between here and his people back in the States. So his friends are people he's never met before, and they're in our time zone, maybe in the Philippines, maybe in Singapore, Indonesia, Australia perhaps, but mostly here in Northeast Asia, China, and Russia. So these are his playmates, people I've never met before. And of course, when kids come together, they sort of meld their cultures, and he'll be yelling off something in Russian, I have no idea what he's saying, and then he might switch to a few words in Korean. We lived in Korea for 6 years, so he is Korean. In China. We lived in China for 6 years, so it's Chinese. He's got a base in it, and it's amazing. So after that, we came home and we talked it over. But for me, of course, this is a whole different world. I grew up in a time when I lived in a neighborhood. I knew most of the kids in the neighborhood. We knew what religion each kid was, and we thought we were pretty daring when, as a Catholic kid, we would go play with the Protestant kids, especially when we started meeting the Protestant girls. We found them much more interesting than the Catholic girls. And our parents knew all of our friends, and they knew the parents of our friends. And we went to grade school with them. We went to high school with them. I went to college with several of them. I still receive monthly notices about the high school reunion, graduation class reunion. They meet once a month, and I'm following the process as the numbers shrink. But there still is a neighborhood and a feeling of neighborliness back home where I grew up. And this world is of my son and my daughter is totally different, very, very different from when I was growing up. I think when we were growing up, we were interested in getting enough money to get a car. That's where we would spend our time with our buddies and with our girlfriends. We worked to get the money to pay for the gas and for the drive-in movie. We seem to be out of the house a lot more than the kids are now. As far as happiness levels, I would say my children seem pretty happy. They seem pretty relaxed. I would say that the adjective that would describe them the most are comfortable and gentle and comfortable. Whereas in our time, we were excited. We were excited about life, all the opportunities, and what we would be doing next. And we were hustlers. I would say in my generation, we were hustlers. These kids are not really hustlers. It seems like this generation is about 2 years at least behind where we were in maturity in my generation. However, these kids are a lot smarter. They know a lot more things, but they're not a generation of doers. They're a generation of entertainment consumers. We had to be doers because we had to fix our own cars. We had to go out and make our own money. Okay, my kids living here in Korea, there's not that many opportunities for them to work as there was in my day. And there's not the economic necessity that there was in my day with my family with 5 kids. We were expected to go out and make our own money. So it's maybe a little bit more comfortable for our kids. We're happy our kids are with us. We're happy they spend time with us in the evening. I wouldn't want to change anything, but it's their neighborhood seems certainly, although they're dealing with people from all over this hemisphere, their neighborhood seems pretty restrained compared to what we did when I was his age. Of course, he's going to be 18 soon. And I had been driving already for 2 years and working, driving, going around, and I knew my city. And with my buddies, we made trips to other states, met other people, and we had adventure. And this generation, adventure seems a bit too risky for them. So anyway, they're happy kids, good kids, nicer kids than we were, I think, when I was growing up. So it's good, and I'm glad they took me to his neighborhood down at the computer room, so I could watch him transform from my sweet son into a killer on the computer. Interesting to see that side of him. Okay, well, this is Alexander Sebastian signing off again. Thank you for coming in and spending this time with me, and I hope you join me again. please sign up, subscribe down below, and we'll see you next time. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.